Good evening. Just went on a late night protein run. So we're at Walmart. Man, protein is so fucking expensive these days, but it's one of those things that no matter how much money you got to buy it. It's like gas in the car, man. You can't not get your protein in. I have a couple YouTube videos up right now, but most of them are challenges and I don't know, crazy shit. I wanted to do a video where it's just me talking to you guys, so you know what I'm all about. And hopefully I can give you some advice and you can take something away from this. I had a plan to film here. We're at Walmart, by the way, in North Kingstown, Rhode Island. There used to be a train in the front of Walmart, like a caboose just sitting there on the tracks. And I had the plan to come film there. And I showed up to grab my protein and the car is not there anymore. I don't know when it fucking left, but oftentimes in life when you're looking for something, you'll see it, and when you're not paying attention, it might not catch the eye. So it could be gone for a year, a couple months. I don't fucking know. But what I wanted to talk to you guys about is, in life, in order to make a change and to make something happen, there has to be a big enough pain or a big enough ambition to really flip that switch in your mind. And I believe that switch can be harder or easier to turn off depending on the type of person you are. Some people might have one shitty experience and that can turn their whole life around. Other people might have to have, a little bit harsher of an experience or multiple experiences for them to really, switch what they do. But I feel like oftentimes everybody has a breaking point, or at least a period or a time or an instance in their life where something happened that it makes them change. I mean, I remember going back, 8 years ago, I was super, super skinny. And I was skinny for a long time before that, but it never bothered me, at least not to the point where I had to make something happen and start going to the gym. Now, that's just a little example. But if you think about any time in your life where you really had to make the change and you had to flip a switch and change what you were doing, it comes down to one point or one instance or a buildup of instances that led to one specific moment where you're like, fuck it, I have to change something. And I feel like I've gone through a lot of these points in my life. The first one I can remember being from being skinny to starting to work out. But even after that, I mean, not going to college, right? That was huge for me because everyone around me, it was normal. Go to college, you go to college. You finish high school, you go to college. It was normal to have that debt and get out of school and, carry around that debt. Everything to do with college was normal. And, I never stopped and thought about what I wanted to do. What does Max Sherman want to do? And so I didn't really take the time to think about that until after I was into college. I was enrolled in URI. And then there was a point where I was like, this is not what I want to do with my life. I have to make the change now and get out, because I did not believe that that's what I wanted to do with my life, and that's not where I could thrive. And I'm not saying college is bad. I'm not saying any job is bad. I mean, even the people that work here, you can't hate, because somebody has to do that. Someone has to be stocking the shelves so you can come in and buy your products. Someone has to, lay down the pavement and make the roads and build the buildings. Those jobs have to be done. So there's no hate to any jobs. If anything, I have a lot of respect for those people who get up day after day and go to their job making not a lot of money. I mean, even my girlfriend, she's going to college and she's super, super stoked about it. She's super excited because that's what she wants to do. right? It lights her up talking about it, thinking about it, going to school, studying for her degree, and that lights her up. For me, it was never that way. So back to the point, I had that switch go off in my mind where I was like, this is not what I want to do. This is not who I want to be. And I didn't go. And then a couple points after that, I mean, I was training, but I was kind of half-assing it. I mean, I was training in person, sure, but I still had shitty habits. I was not practicing as they preach, as they say. I was still like smoking and drinking, but I was a personal trainer. And I looked fit enough because I'm young and I do prioritize exercise and eating clean, but I still had shitty habits. And I felt like a fraud for about a year. I just felt like, you know, what am I doing? I'm training people, but I can't even fucking train myself. And that's where the idea of me influencing people and building this course and this brand comes from, giving people discipline aside from a teacher or a professor or a boss or your mom or your dad or someone telling you to do so. It's building that discipline within, and it gave me the ability through trial and error to get up every single day and work on my passion without, someone telling me to do so, but myself and but my own mind. So now, instead of having my life go to shit and then having a moment where I have to turn it around, I've been able to condition my mind and discipline myself to just do what is necessary every single day. And I'm not saying I'm perfect. I mean, I drank the other night, but the difference was I almost not wanted to, because I wanted to before, but I was in the headspace where I could do it and not feel shitty about myself. So by building that self-discipline, I was able to attack my goals and go after what I felt was of value to me. And anyone out there watching should go after what's valuable to you. It shouldn't be something that, people are telling you to do. If that's college, if that's a trade, if that's, starting your own business, it doesn't matter. If you are passionate about it and you want to wake up every single solitary day and dedicate your time and your life to it, then props to you. Because I'll tell you, a lot of people, they just fall into the system and they don't even think what they want to do with their life. A lot of people out there, from what I've realized, is people don't even use their degrees. If you go ask 10 adults, what'd you go to college for? They'll tell you, and then you say, what do you do now? A lot of the people, it'll be pretty different, or at least, not the avenue that they probably thought when they were young. So, and that's because they didn't chase what they were truly, passionate about. So whatever you plan on doing, just make sure you love to do it and it doesn't feel like work. But anyway, I'm waiting for somebody to come out that door. They close at 10 and it is about 9:45 right now. I'm waiting for some guy to walk out that door and just see my ass sitting here talking to the woods. Oops. But I really think that it's important for everybody to build that self-discipline, because you don't want to get to the point where you have so many bad, series of events where you need to make that switch. I mean, that is good. That's what I needed to start. Don't get me wrong. I needed shit to hit the fan for me to be like, fuck, and wake up. But you can also tell your brain things that have already happened that might not have been so bad, and convince yourself that that was your breaking point, or you need to change because of this. Right? You have to play those scenarios back in your head. So if you're listening and you had a point in time where you felt like shit, you felt like you weren't doing what was right. I don't care if you were drunk, if you were high, if you were sober, I don't care what you were doing or what the scenario was. If you had a point where your mind was like, shit, I could be doing better than this, this, and you wake up and you look and you say, this isn't who I want to be, or who I want to look like, or who I want to hang out with or associate myself with, or what I want to be doing with life, then really think back to that time and hold on to that memory. Play it back in your head and let it wake you up. All right, let it wake you up and make yourself realize that if you don't let that little instance stop you, then it's going to get a hell of a lot worse before you actually make the change. All right, and this could be for small stuff too. It doesn't have to mean, drop out of college and start a business, but even little things. I mean, like, what if you don't like to wake up late, and you're like, shit, I feel like shit every time I wake up late. Remember that feeling, and then that's what you think of the next day when you go to hit the snooze button on the alarm. Or you don't like to eat fast food because you don't want to look bad. You want to look good for summer. That pain has to mean enough for you to make the change. And I would aid everybody to start with a little goal and then just progress from there. Self-betterment starts with those tiny little wins. You know what I mean? Getting up 5 minutes earlier, going on that run you don't want to go on, doing that even school assignment you'll procrastinate, and then do last minute. It starts with those tiny wins, and then your brain stacks them up in your head, and it gives you the ability to go after greater things. So that's pretty much all I got for today. But I'd like to do more of these videos. And if you guys have comments you want to drop on topics you want to go over, or questions that you have, DM me on Instagram or comment them on YouTube. We can go over them here. But yeah, I'm trying to build a solid community of people who really resonate with what I'm saying. And I knew it. All right, time to bounce. All right, we're back in the car. I don't even understand what just happened. I don't know how that guy did not see me. I was going to say what's up, but I didn't want to fucking scare him. So, anyway, back to what we were saying. If any of this is of value to you, and I hope it is, I'd like to do more of these videos where I'm just getting on here and showing you guys, what's in my head and what struggles I go through on the daily, and really how to, how I at least get over them and try to think better about life. But yeah, like I said, drop a comment, man. Like, even if you got some shit that you've been going through, put that down below, and I'll keep your name anonymous, but we can go over any topics you guys like, because this is important to me to grow your guys' perspective in life, and the value you put out in the world. So anyway, thank you guys for listening. Drop a follow. We'll see you next week.